Welcome everyone joining us for our first virtual picture book party. I'm going to wait one more minute till we officially begin, but we are recording now. All right, everybody, welcome aboard. Welcome to our very first virtual picture book party. My name is Melissa and I will be hosting us today. Our librarian team has been offering virtual book parties every month for a while now, and we thought it would be super fun to do one just for picture books, and so that's our plan today. You can look for future book parties on our website and sign up for them there at arapahoelibraries.org. We have another book party coming up on December 15th, best favorites books of the year, I believe. And then we'll have another picture book party in February. So we hope to see you there. So how this works is that we have 5 different presenters from our Child and Family Library Services Department and from our Storytime Specialist team. And they're each going to talk about 5 books. They have just 1 minute to tell you everything they love about that book. And so it might feel like it's going pretty fast, but don't worry about writing anything down. We will be sending a list of all our books to your email after the program. And just as another reminder, we are recording this program. The video will just show our slides and our presenters. If you have a tech question during the program, or you want to share a comment or a question or a thought about one of the books that we're talking about, please go ahead and use the chat, and one of us will get back to you or respond as soon as we can during the program. What you'll see is a slide for each book, and then a time reminder slide that we're hoping helps to keep us all on track. So thanks again for joining us. I'm going to start by having our presenters introduce themselves, and I'm going to have them say their name and their position in the library. And I'm going to ask Molly to get us started.
Hello, everyone. I'm Molly Lancaster, and I'm an early literacy librarian.
Hi, my name is Mary Cooner, and I am also an early literacy librarian.
Hi, my name is Elaine Bradshaw, and I'm a Storytime Specialist.
Hi, I'm Lorianne Armstrong, and I do outreach to preschools for Child and Family Library Services.
Tina, we can't hear you.
All right, my name is Tina, and you can watch my bilingual story time on YouTube or Facebook.
Awesome, thank you everybody. So now go ahead and mute yourselves again until it's your turn to present your book. And we are going to get started with Molly's first book.
All right. Help Wanted, Must Love Books by Janet Sumner Johnson and Courtney Dawson. Shaylee's dad is too tired to read to her at night, so he's promptly fired. She places an ad and begins interviewing applicants, but as we all know, good help is hard to find. And the applicants she is finding, they're all lacking a certain something. The 7 dwarves are suspicious of all bedtime snacks. Goldilocks can just not get comfortable, and the gingerbread man keeps running away with the stories. So, will she ever find her perfect story time person? To find out, you can read this book. I would suggest it for ages 3.5 to 6 because I think they'd really like the fairy tale humor. And if you like this one, you can check out Reading Beauty by Deborah Underwood and Meg Hunt, The Book Hog by Greg Pizzoli, and Princess and the Pit Stop by Tom Engelberger and Dan Santat.
Okay, my first book that I'll discuss is called Out, written and illustrated by Ari Chung. This book is a fun read aloud for babies and toddlers and a simple beginning reader for preschoolers. Do you ever want out? Baby's supposed to be sleeping while his parents share some time together. He wants out of his crib, but Jojo the dog doesn't think it's a great idea. Baby gets out and he and Jojo have some funny adventures. I was first drawn to Out because of the cover. I like the great illustrations and the diverse characters. And it's a nearly wordless book, so it's a great way to talk with your children and help them to guess what happens next. So if you like this book, you might like My Car by Byron Barton.
This is Desert Girl and Monsoon Boy. The author is Tara Derman, and the illustrator is Archana Srinivasan. The age range I would recommend is 2.5 to 5. Extreme weather affects two children's lives in very different ways and shows how the power of nature can bring us together. One girl, one boy, and their lives couldn't be more different. While she turns her shoulder to sandstorms and blistering winds, he cuffs his pants when heavy rain begins to fall. As the weather becomes more severe, their families and animals must flee to safety, and their destination shows that they might be more alike than they seem. The journeys of these two children experiencing weather extremes in India highlight the power of nature and the resilience of the human spirit. If you love looking at picture books with native dress, the illustrations are one of my favorite parts of this book. And there are some wonderful new vocabulary words you can point out, define, and use with the children.
Ooh, this is one of my favorite books of the year for toddlers. Bunny Overboard by Claudia Rueda. She's the author and the illustrator. Some of her favorite things to do in life are to go scuba diving and to go sailing. And in this interactive read aloud, children also get to go sailing and scuba diving with Bunny. They will get to blow on the book to put the wind in Bunny's sails, rock the book to make waves, knock on the window of a sunken ship, and they get to see their favorite person. There is literally a mirror embedded in the book, so they get to see themselves. That is definitely their favorite people. And the illustrations are cute and fun, but what I really love about this book is the interactivity. For story times, it's awesome because the kids can join in and help jump into the water with Bunny or wipe away the ink from the octopus. It keeps kids engaged while listening to someone else read, and I like that a lot. The action words are sight words for print awareness, which means kids can get more out of this book as they get older. So if you like active read alouds, then you will love this book as much as I did.
The first book I would like to share with you is called Here and Now, and it was written by Julia Dinos and illustrated by E.B. Goodale. This is my new go-to baby shower gift. I always like to give a baby-appropriate board book and a book to grow into, and this is that book. It's a beautiful story about being present and mindful and connecting with others, which seems especially important as we are increasingly living our lives at top speed online. Plus, the gorgeous illustrations in soft pastels with occasional bursts of color are worth spending some time with. This book is perfect for a caregiver to share with an older toddler to an elementary age child child as they enjoy a quiet moment together. And maybe after reading it, it will encourage all of us to spend a little time and be in the moment.
Okay, next up is My Rainy Day Rocket Ship. I really love this book. It is by author Marquette Shepherd, and Charlie Palmer is the illustrator. I'm bored. I bet those of us who are parents have never heard those words before spoken by our children. But for this kid, it's rainy and his toys are just not doing the trick to keep him occupied. The solution? Make a new toy. But will this new design made with things from around the house keep this boy and his parents occupied until bedtime? I'd really recommend this book for ages 2.5 to 5. I think they could really get behind using everyday objects as toys. And if you like this one, check out Rocket Says Look Up by Nathan Bryan and Dapo Adiola, Side by Side by Chris Rashka, or The Paper Kingdom by Helena Khoury and Pascal Campion. There we go.
Okay, next I have Feel the Beat by Marilyn Singer and illustrated by Christy Valiant. Can you remember the first poem you ever heard? These poems are a memorable introduction for young children. I'd recommend this as a read aloud or an audiobook for the preschoolers because it has a CD with it. Wow, how many different dances are there and where do they come from? Many of the poems tell stories about family, friends, and their memories. It was a fun way to recognize some of the dances from Dancing with the Stars. Feel the Beat includes CDs with the author reading each poem to the rhythm of that dance. So it's a cool option for your child's gym class or a family activity. And if you enjoy this book, try Giraffes Can't Dance by Giles Andre.
My second book is called Wild About Dads. The author is Diana Murray and Amber Alvarez illustrated it. I would recommend 2.5 to 5 for this one. We all love our dads, but what can they do? What can animal dads do? Are there any things that they can do that are similar to each other? A rhyming picture book that celebrates fatherhood in its many forms. If you like Faster Faster by Leslie Petricelli, you'll love this one. And at the end of the book, there are facts about each animal that can be shared with children. For example, sungrebe dads carry young hatchlings in a pocket under their wings to keep them safe. Dads can swim and fly while the hatchlings are tucked away. Check out this book to see how other dads care for this baby. I didn't know that about sungrebes.
The Yawns Are Coming by Christopher Eliopoulos. This author and illustrator got their start by illustrating Marvel comics. I thought that was cool. In this book, 2 friends are determined to stay up all night playing during their slumber party. But these strange creatures start to invade. There's the yawn creatures, the snores, the sleepies. The 2 are determined not to let the creatures win and not to fall asleep. No matter what, they have to stay awake to do their whole list of things that they want to do. But what happens when they start to become outnumbered by these creatures. The Yawns Are Coming is a really fun take on becoming tired, even when you think you don't want to be tired. So if you like wild and silly adventure books, then this one is for you. This book would be perfect for a first timer to a sleepover or a child that loves sleepovers, but probably older preschoolers and to second grade, because younger kiddos might be afraid that these creatures are real. There's awesome big printed words for great print awareness. And of course, the illustrations are amazing because the author also is an author of comic books. It was wonderful.
So sorry, folks, about the last one. The microphone for my laptop is right on the left side of my computer where I put my hand. So I will try to make sure I don't put my hand there anymore so you can hear my whole book talk. This beautiful book is called Birdsong, and it is written by a Cree Métis Indigenous Canadian author and illustrator named Julie Flett, and I feel like it's a quiet masterpiece. It's a beautiful story, and Flett is one of the best illustrators working today, in my opinion. Birdsong is about a girl who loves drawing, who moves to a new house in a remote area, and is befriended by her neighbor, an elderly woman who loves birds and making things. The seasons change. Katharina and Agnes notice the changes, and Agnes becomes weaker. Flett's illustrations are a little reminiscent of Ezra Jack Keats, with their earth-toned colors and collage-like appearance, I think. The story may be quiet and pondering, but the whole thing together packs a real punch. This would be a great read aloud for older children, perhaps as a discussion starter about loss and change.
All right, Me and Mama by Cosby A. Cabrera. This mom and daughter have a perfectly perfect relationship. From the time the sun comes up until it sets, Mama and her girl find joy together throughout the day. Getting ready, walking the dog in the rain. Everyday adventures become super exciting. And when it's time for bed, there are dreams of tomorrow. This poetic story is filled to the brim with words to engage your senses and bring back some memories. I'd recommend it for ages 2.5 to 5. And try Firefly by Shauna Keller and Ramona Kolitsky. Mama is a Mechanic by Doug Senko. And One Word from Sophia by Jim Averback and Yasmin Ismail. Oh, there we go, Tina.
Third, I have The Little Red Fort by Brenda Meyer and illustrated by Sonia Sanchez. This book would be great for 3 to 5-year-olds. So can Ruby build a fort? And this updated version of The Little Red Hen starts with Ruby asking her brothers to help her build a fort, which she has never done before. When they won't help, what can she do? She learns from her mother and her grandma, who help her with her project. She plans and completes the fort, and now her brothers want to play with her. Will she let them play in the fort? I like the repeated phrasing in the story that help the children predict what's going to happen next. And there's also a natural opportunity to talk about how it feels to be disappointed and still forgive others. So if you like this story, try Hedgehog Needs a Hug by Jen Benton.
Plenty of Hugs was written by Fran Manushkin, and Kate Elizaday, who lives in Northern Ireland with her wife and cat, is the illustrator. I would recommend ages 2 to 5. And what could be better right now than plenty of hugs, right? A lot of us aren't getting enough of those. This book follows a family from morning to night. The toddler and his mommies take a morning bike ride to the farm stand. They visit a zoo in the afternoon, and in the evening, there's a bath and storybook routine before a child is tucked cozily into bed. Other than hugs, what does your family like to do together? If you like The Family Book by Todd Parr, you'll like this one. I also like the illustrations. They're delightful, they're colorful. It's very easy to see the activities that they are doing. And the rhyming is great. It might be fun to sing the rhyme out loud or read it with a rhythm or a beat.
For my next book, it's called Small Matters, The Hidden World of the Unseen by Heather Ferranti Kinzer. Now, this author got her start as a technical writer and editor for science textbooks. So this book started out as a 50-word poem that she wrote, which is the meat of the book. And this is also her first children's book. So there are tons of colorful pictures on every page, and many are taken through a powerful scanning electron microscope, which sees things in nanoscale, so tiny. So the pictures are by the National Science Foundation, Dr. Gregory Paulson and Dr. Robert Butler. They are simply captivating. They're amazing. In this book, you can learn interesting facts about shark skin, snail teeth. Did you know snail had teeth? It's amazing. Butterfly wings, bird feathers, and so much more. You can see the curvy spines on a cat's tongue, and there's a fascinating vocabulary that's introduced in this book, and it's a great time to talk about viruses and how they look on a nanoscale. This book that provides tiny details that can make a big difference, and it's appropriate for ages like 4 to 9. If you love to be amazed at nature and you love to learn new facts, then this spellbinding book is for you.
All right, my next book is called Little Green Donkey, and it was written and illustrated by Anuska Ayapus, and I absolutely love this book and wish that I had written it. It is exactly my sense of humor. It's a silly tale of a picky eater who learns the joys and hazards of trying something new. Little Green Donkey loves eating grass, and no matter what his mother offers, he will not try anything else. One day he strolls off to the pond and notices that all the grass he's eaten has turned him, you guessed it, bright green. Dismayed, he decides to try some new foods with, let's say, mixed results. This is a fun read aloud for toddlers and preschoolers. I think preschoolers will better enjoy the humor, but it's short enough for toddlers. And it would be excellent for story time paired with The Watermelon Seed by Greg Pizzoli.
All right, Playing Wicked. This is by Alex Kaler and Ben Whitehouse. So while I can't totally relate to their motivations, I've always had a certain understanding in my heart for the villains of a story. They want their way and they want to look fabulous while doing so. The same goes for Dante, our main character in this book. When he and his friends play together, he's the hero of the story. But when he's on his own, he goes to the dark side. He even makes some pretty fabulous dresses for the occasion. But will his wicked queen find a hero to vanquish? Will any of his friends let him be the bad guy for once? So I would recommend this story for about ages 4 to 7. And if you loved Julian is a Mermaid by Jessica Love, I Am Perfectly Designed by Karamo Brown, Jason Rachel Brown, and Anusha Syed, and King Alice by Matthew Cordell, you will love Playing Wicked.
Now I have Grandma's Purse, written and illustrated by Vanessa Brantley Newton. 3 to 5-year-olds will enjoy this book. Did you know purses had stories in them? Mimi's coming to visit and her granddaughter wants to see the treasures in her purse. While they're going to talk about the purse and how Grandma uses the items in the purse, they find pictures and Grandma tells some cool stories about family history. So this is a fun way to share family history by just, talking about the things that are every day. They also find a surprise at the bottom of the purse. My grandma was one of my favorite people, so the title made me smile. I remember being excited about the fun things that I could find and put in a purse. And this story includes diverse and intergenerational characters that are relatable. So if you like this one, you might enjoy Thank You, Omu by Ogimura.
My next one is A Big Mooncake for Little Star. The author and illustrator are Grace Lynn, and I think 2 to 5-year-olds would enjoy this one. Grace is both a Caldecott and Newbery Honor author. I've been working on reading more diverse books myself, and in this one, I learned that the Mid-Autumn Moon Festival is an Asian holiday, and Grace wrote it because she wanted to share this story with her young daughter. During the festival, families eat mooncakes and tell stories about the moon. Have you ever made a mooncake? A really large pancake? Why not eat it and talk about the phases of the moon? You can also find a variety of mooncake photos online. If you like Moon Festival Wishes by Gillian Lynn, you'll like this one. I think this book would be wonderful paired with nonfiction book about the phases of the moon.
Ways to Welcome by Linda Ashman. The pictures are by Joey Chu, our awesome illustrator. I thought his story was interesting. He is from Taiwan and he got his start with animating films, which he still does now. And at night, he illustrates picture books. So this book takes a look at different ways that you can help someone feel welcome and included. It's a good introduction to the importance of being inclusive for children. I enjoyed the variety of people shown in the book, grandparents, people from all over the world, but most of all, I like the message of welcoming everyone and showing small acts of kindness, like waving to a baby, including others in play, and rescuing a blown away hat. So these acts of kindness all make the world a better place. And this book also rhymes, so it's great for phonological awareness. Another really cool feature that I noticed in this book are the hidden butterflies on every page. So that was kind of a plus I didn't notice at first. This book is perfect for preschool to first grade. It is on the best of the year list for the New York Times and several others. And it's a wonderful book and a great opportunity to talk to kids about how we welcome people during a pandemic.
All right, my next story is Lift, written by Min Lee and illustrated by Caldecott medalist Dan Santat. This book has few words, but herein lies adventure. A girl has always been in charge of pushing the elevator button when her family leaves the apartment. Always. But when her little brother becomes old enough to take a turn, she is livid. To her surprise, she manages to find an unused elevator button and tapes it to the wall of her bedroom right next to her closet door. She pushes it and, surprise, her door opens and she is able to step into the jungle. Space, adventure awaits. Will she let her little brother in on the fun? If you pay attention to the details in the illustrations, you may find some hints about where they might travel next. Dan Santat's illustrations are always full of light and detail, and they really add to the magic of this wonderful story that I feel like is probably best for preschool age and up, just based on the story, and will be wonderful for a caregiver and a child to sit together and figure out what's happening. And where would you go if you had an elevator button in your room?
13 Stories About Harris by Amy Schwartz. I love this book so much, I had to buy it for myself. So this is my copy, but you can place a hold on it in the library. Harris lives his life just like every toddler does, to the absolute fullest. Each snippet of his life is told simply, but packed with lots of detail, just like a toddler will tell you. He draws a line around the block. He attends his first birthday party. He babysits a hamster or two or three or four, and so much more. You'll find yourself narrating your own child's life or perhaps your own life in this same way, and maybe get a little bit more joy out of the simple things in life. I think this book is great for ages 2 to 4 and would help with teaching kids how to tell a story. If you like this one, I would especially recommend Daniel's Good Day by Misha Archer, Tell Me a Tattoo Story by Allison McGee and Lisa Wheeler, and What I Like Most by Mary Murphy. There we go. And I'll pass it on to Tina.
Last, I have How Are You? Or ¿Cómo estás? Written and illustrated by Angela Dominguez. This bilingual book would be a nice read aloud for 2 to 3-year-olds. What do you do when you meet somebody new? 2 giraffes are walking together when they meet an ostrich. The giraffes greet the ostrich in Spanish and in English. Then they ask the ostrich, "How are you?" The ostrich is quiet. How is ostrich? Giraffes want to know more about their new friend, and they ask questions that help them understand what the ostrich is feeling. This simple book gives children words and vocabulary for some of their emotions. Angela Dominguez also wrote a bilingual book called How Do You Say, or ¿Cómo se dice? So if you like this book, you'll like the other one as well. They're great bilingual books that introduce simple sentences.
Yo Soy Muslim was written by Mark Gonzalez, and the illustrator is Meredith Emini. The age range, I would say 3 to 5. Mark is a Muslim and Latino poet, and this is his first venture into children's literature. It's actually a story that he wrote as a letter to his daughter, encouraging her to find joy and pride in all aspects of their multicultural identity. The entire book is beautifully written. One of my favorite sentences, he tells her, "Dear little one, know you are wondrous, a child of crescent moons, a builder of mosques, a descendant of brilliance, an ancestor in training." Love that. Yo Soy Muslim is a celebration of social harmony, multicultural identities. It also highlights the diversity of the Muslim community and also the indigenous identity. He writes to his daughter, "And there will come a day when some people in the world will not smile at you." And he tells her, "On that day, tell them this."
I gotta follow that. That's amazing. My last book is called It Is Not Perfect by Anna King and Christopher Wyant. They're a husband and wife team, and he does cartoons for the New York Times. So I thought that was cool. It's a really fun 5th book to this series. So people who like the humor in that, so I Am Not Scared, I Am Not Small, all of those by that same author will like this one too. It's about 2 fuzzy, adorable creatures that are finishing their sand castles on the beach when they each think of something that would make it even better. It needs flags, now taller towers, now more friends come and give their opinions on how to make it better. And as they implement each new change, their tiny sandcastle becomes this grand palace extravaganza. But is it really perfect? This sweet story teaches perseverance, the power of peer pressure, and of course, the value of true friendship. The illustrated characters are charming and they all have their own personality. What I love the most about this book, though, is that the illustrations tell as much of the story as the words. So even non-readers would be able to understand what is going on. So it's great for narrative skills. It's perfect for toddlers through the preschool age, and it has won the Goodreads Choice Awards in 2020. I think you'll really enjoy it.
My final book is called In a Jar, and it was written and illustrated by Deborah Marcero, and it is one of my Caldecott Award possibilities this year. Of course, I have no idea who will actually win, but I think this one is absolutely beautiful. I love the washes of color and the tiny details in the illustrations and the use of comic book style panels. A little rabbit loves collecting things in jars, rocks, leaves, even smells, sounds, and sights. He meets a new friend and gives her a jar, and they begin collecting together. But what will he do when she moves away? I think it's appropriate preschool and up, and it would be a wonderful way to start a conversation with a child whose best friend has moved away. It's simply a lovely story to share. After reading it together, maybe you could talk about what you'd collect in a jar and then get some real jars and start your own collections. Two others I would recommend from this past year, which also deal with friendships and loss, are Finding Francois by Gus Gordon or My Best Friend by Julie Fogliano and Jillian Tamaki.
Thank you everyone for coming and listening. That is all of our books that we have today. Even with picture books, we have a lot to say. So thanks for sticking with us as we went over our time by a few minutes. A reminder that we will be sending out a book list to you via email with all of these titles on it. And thanks to our panelists for the tough job of just choosing 5 books. If you have any questions, we'll be here for a few more minutes and you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll see you at our next virtual book party. Thank you so much.